And I wake up and I'm startled because you're not supposed to be here and it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Hi, my name is Michelle Holloway and I am a mother of 2 boys. I am from down south and I am taking this time to come before you guys and share my testimony on how God saved me from a homosexual lifestyle. I'm creating this content because when I was in that world and I was in a relationship, I got a phone call from a relative and she had a dream that I passed away. In that moment, I was, of course, scared, nervous. I had my son, I only had one son at that time. He was young, and of course I didn't want to pass away, let alone I didn't want to pass away in my sins. I was in a relationship, heavy, with this one individual, and when that relative called me, I exited out of the relationship. I didn't have anywhere to stay because I gave up my home at that time to move in with my girlfriend. And I had to relocate. I relocated with my brother, and I didn't have anything. I didn't have any furniture, no bed, no nothing. So me and my son ended up sleeping on the floor. Well, the dream that she had, because I left and because of the dream, I decided to try to turn my life around. When I attempted to do that, I was looking for content. I was looking for something to watch as motivation. And what I stumbled across, it wasn't eye-catching to me. It did nothing for me. I'm not saying that it didn't do anything for anybody else, but at that time, it did not hold any weight for me. So when I finally got out of the whole homosexual lifestyle and God saved me, and I had been saved for a very long time, it was brought back to my remembrance how when I was that person that needed deliverance and wanted the deliverance and could not find it, was seeking it and wasn't able to find it, I wanted someone to help me. So that is the reason why I'm creating this video. 2011, that was around the time that I stopped dating guys. I won't go into details about that. That's a whole nother story. So back then, I stopped dating men. I wasn't attracted to women. I stopped dating men for a totally different reason. I did have a male best friend that was in the homosexual lifestyle as well. We were really close. He talked me into creating this page called Tagged. And when I did that, his whole motive, as what he say, he wanted me to just have friends because I wasn't talking to anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I created the page. When I created the page, of course, my profile said heterosexual. Well, there was a female that reached out to me and she said, "Oh, I know you're not a lesbian. I saw your profile. I see that it says that you like men, but I just thought you were so beautiful and I wanted to let you know." So at first I didn't say anything because I didn't want to open up that door. I didn't want to lead her on. And I didn't even think twice about it. So my cousin at the time, she used to get my phone. She's much younger than I am. She used to get my phone, go through it, whatever she would do on it, I don't know. And she saw the message on Tagged from the girl and she was like, "Michelle, you know, you shouldn't do people like that because you're acting funny." And I said, I don't think I'm acting funny. I just don't want to lead her on because I already see, you know, what type of woman she is, and I'm not that type of woman. Well, long story short, I I didn't want to make the girl feel bad, so I told her thank you. One conversation led to another, and we ended up dating. She was very cool. She invited me and my cousins and my guy best friend at the time. She invited us all out to Orlando, and we had so much fun, we never lost contact. And then it was, on top of that, it was just a constant good morning, how are you doing, good morning, beautiful. For me at that time, I had never experienced that. So it was more so her catering and making me feel good emotionally. Once she triggered those emotions in me, it kind of flourished and it went elsewhere. Now, with that being my first homosexual relationship, I wasn't 100% into it. So she was very emotional, and that really got on my nerves, and I broke up with her because she was too emotional. I was sick one day and she wanted to talk to me. She wanted to go on a date. I said no. She wouldn't respect my boundaries, and she was just doing too much to me. So I left. I got out of the relationship. 2012, I got into another relationship around these time frames. I got into another relationship. This girl, she was quiet, but very studdish, very masculine, but not butch. We had a lot of fun together, and she had structure. You can tell she had been in that world for a very long time, as opposed to my first girlfriend. She was more of a no label, and my first girlfriend dressed in more tighter clothes. Well, my second girlfriend was more on the masculine side. At that time, I did not like my living situation. So the closer me and this individual got, we started talking about moving in together. And it was perfect timing for me. So I went ahead and I told her we could. I signed the lease for the apartment and I moved out. Well, when I moved out, I kind of got to see how she really was. She had a lot of structure, as so I thought, but really, in reality, she was controlling. She did not want me to go nowhere. I couldn't go anywhere without her. I couldn't go around my family because my family, that side of my family, where I was trying to go, they did not know, nor did they really accept. They weren't like standoffish or like pushing me away because of the lifestyle I was living, but I just wasn't ready to bring my girlfriend into my family. I needed to talk to my family first and bring it in together. I had my own way of doing things. My girlfriend at the time, she didn't understand that. She wasn't even trying to understand it. So I just gave in to what she wanted, and I never went around my family. It got to a point where my cousins, they would call me and say, you know, Michelle, we don't see you anymore. The only way we get to talk to you is over the phone. It's our birthday and we want to hang out. So I asked my girlfriend, hey, do you mind if I go to the club with my with my cousins? It's one of their birthdays and they want to have fun and they want me to come. Her entire look on her face changed. And I said, you know, this is really the only time that I'm asking you if I could go. And, you know, just to give a little backstory, back then I was a club hopper and I loved to dance. When I go into the club, I'm going into the club so I can dance. And maybe I did dance a little provocative, but that was just the way that I danced. And I didn't care who watched me, who saw me. That was how I had fun. So it didn't matter if no one was on the dance floor. I'm getting on the dance floor. So I remember at the time when me and her used to go out, men would watch me dance, but I never watched them watching me. And she would always talk about it the next day. So maybe that's why she did not want me to go out to the club. I don't know, but there was no trust there. And I did not break the trust with us because I never did anything. So it made me realize how controlling she was. She never wanted me to be out of her sight. So she ended up telling me, yes, I can go out with them. And I went. And she was like texting me the whole night. So my cousin took my phone. She took my phone and she put it in her purse and she was like, no, we're not doing this. We're gonna celebrate my birthday for a couple of hours and then you can go back home to your girlfriend. She needs to chill. So, sometimes when people accuse you of things, it's like they're speaking things into the atmosphere for something to happen, because I don't know what happened, but some stud, this never happens to me, never happened to me before. Some stud approached me and picked me up and then dropped me. I don't even know what happened. She clearly was drunk. I don't know, but it created a commotion. It created commotion in the club. And my girlfriend, she was a bouncer at one of the clubs, and she's very known. So word got back to her about the ordeal. And also a guy tried to talk to me. He was trying to help me up off the floor. I don't even know how I fell. He was trying to help me up off the floor and he asked for my phone number. And I can't remember if I gave him my number or if I took his number, but it was one or the other. And she didn't realize that the only reason why I did that is because I've always had a complex when it comes to men asking me for my phone number because of something that happened years ago. If a guy asks me for my phone number, I'm giving it. I'm either going to give it to him or I'm going to take his, because men, from what I know, will get aggressive. And when it's drugs involved, alcohol involved, you don't always know, but we're at the club, so of course you're doing something. I didn't want to cause any problems, and I wanted a safe exit out of the club and a safe exit home. So I gave him my number, either I got his. When I got back home, I was laying on the sofa because I was intoxicated, and she was up, like waiting on me. Now, the club closed at 2. I had to have gotten home around 2:30 because I was talking to the police officer about the situation that happened inside the club. So I'm half asleep and I'm trying to tell her about what happened, and she clearly did not believe me. Now, this isn't a small girl. She's big. She's not tall. She wasn't tall, but she had weight on her, and she's a bouncer, so she knew how to fight. I'm laying on the sofa, I'm saying all these things. Out of nowhere, my eyes are closed. Out of nowhere, she hits me. Just one time. She hits me one time, but the hit was so powerful, I couldn't see. And there was like a coffee table in the middle of the floor. So I jumped up and I screamed her name, trying to get her to stop, because I'm like, why did you do that? I cannot see. Don't come no, but I could see her shadow. And I'm like, don't come no closer to me. And on top of that, I'm like drunk. So I'm wobbly, I'm unstable, I can't see, and I know she's mad. I can feel the rage in the room. And I'm scared at this point. My son wasn't there. So when I got up, I was trying to maneuver around the table and get away from her. She didn't want me to. So, when you're kind of like tussling with somebody on feet and you finally get that breakthrough, you run. So I ran to the back room, locked myself in the room. She wasn't running. She just walked very slowly to the back. And she kind of, you know, like on those Lifetime movies, when you're being attacked and the attacker kind of like snaps and go into that, Carrie, where are you? I mean, she did that. Michelle, let me in. And I'm like, you know, if I got to, I'm finna jump out this window. I'm on the second floor, never did that before, but she went into another person. She went into another mode. So I could hear her fumbling with the door. So I'm looking for, I don't know, sheets to tie up, towels to tie up so that I can just kind of like slide down. But then there was something that came over me and said, you're not gonna have to do that. You're not gonna have to do that. So I kind of just sat in the bathroom and I was like, Lord, you know, just let her leave. Like, just let her leave. And she ended up leaving. She went to work. When she went to work, I still couldn't see. I couldn't see for a week. I had to end up going to the doctor. She did not apologize. I guess she felt like she owed me that because she never apologized. She told me, she said, well, whenever you go to the doctor, just tell them that a baseball or something hit you in the eye. And I said, okay. But I knew in the back of my head, this won't last long. This relationship won't last long. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I gotta get out. I remember telling myself a long time ago, you know, I'll never let nobody hit me. So, moving on to the next incident, for whatever reason, she stopped trusting me. Well, maybe for that reason, she stopped trusting me. And I started to have to check in with her every time I left the house to go to work, because she left before me. Every time I left the house to go to work, every time I came back home, I had a coworker that worked with me, and she lived maybe like 5 minutes up the road. So I told her, I said, I'll start coming to pick you up and bring you back home. Well, one day I just got tired of being in that house with her, never doing nothing. I felt like I was in prison. I mean, I'm washing clothes, cleaning up all the time. I'm you know, being a housewife without even being married, you know, and there's no trust, and I haven't even did anything. And I got tired of that. So one day I was dropping my friend off home, and she was like, you know, you want to come in for a little bit? We can play some games, you know. You got your son, I got my daughter, they can play. And there's other kids up here too. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come in. So I went in. One thing led to another. We started playing games, and we started just having fun. Like, I just needed to have fun with somebody else besides my girlfriend and my son. It just became a burden on me. And I just felt like I wasn't living my life. So I went over there. I joined them in family night or whatever they were having. And she said, well, do you want something to drink? It's Friday. Do you want some alcohol? And I was like, yeah, just a little bit. I don't want too much. Well, one thing turned to another, and I started taking shots. So my son fell asleep. So I was like, I'm just going to lay down for just a second so I can sleep this off. And I'm sure my girlfriend's going to call me. I answer the phone. Well, I got so knocked out, I didn't even hear my phone ringing. There was no one else in the room with me or anything. She was blowing my phone up. The way that I found out that she was blowing up my phone, because she came and knocked at the door. She came and knocked at the door of where we were, and the stud that was living, whose house that was, went to the door and answered the door. And all she had on was her sports bra. So that was not a good look. The girlfriend said, tell Michelle to come here. And so they was like, ooh, Michelle, you in trouble, you know, making jokes. So I went to the door, and I was like, what are you doing here? How did you know, where to come? She didn't answer me or anything. She took me by my arm, yanked me out the house, and drug me down the apartment stairs. And it's dark outside. There's nobody outside. I don't even know what time it was. It probably was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. I was asleep. And she took me all the way to the back of the apartment by the woods and took me behind the dumpster. And I'm standing there because I don't have nothing. I don't have my phone. I don't have no weapon. I don't have anything. So she could have done anything to me, and I could feel the rage again from her and the craziness in her eyes. And she just stood there and just stared at me. And we were just standing there staring at each other because I didn't have anything to say. And I'm sure she had a lot to say, but it wouldn't come out. And her eyes began to turn red. I mean, it just looked like she was transforming. And she started crying. But it was a rage cry. It wasn't, I mean, I know she probably was hurt as well because she called my sister. I believe she called my brother. She might have called my dad looking for me. And I think I told my sister, yeah, no, I'm at my friend's house. I didn't want to go home or whatever. So, she got back in her car and I went back upstairs. I'm still not going back to the house because I don't want to be around you. So she went her way and I went back in the house. One of the girls in the house started crying and she was like, I don't have a good feeling about this, Michelle. You don't need to go back there. If you go back there, you need to go back there with the police officer. So the next morning I called the police officer. I had them to escort her out. And it was almost like it was perfect timing because my cousins asked if they could come stay with me for a little while their house was being renovated. And I was like, yeah, perfect timing. Y'all can come. While they were there, my girlfriend at the time, she was stalking me. I was single, so I was able to date other people. I did not get into another relationship. That's not what I wanted to do. I was dating other people. And there was this one person that I was consistent with. One day I was on my way to go see her and I saw my ex-girlfriend on the Matthews Bridge on the side of me. And she was blowing her horn trying to get me to stop. But again, this rage was in her eyes. And I'm looking like, what are you doing? She tried to run me off of the expressway. So we're almost in like a car race and I'm trying to get away from her on the bridge. So if anybody knows about the Matthews Bridge, when you're coming down off of the Matthews Bridge going into downtown, you have an option to go right or you can go straight. Well, I'm driving and she kind of, she's behind me. So she's trying to follow me. So I kind of made it seem like I was going to the right so that I can go like Main Street way. And she was so close to me until when I yanked jerked my car to the left to go straight, she didn't have enough time to do that as well. So I ended up losing her. Another incident that happened while I was with her, while we were broken up, I guess she still had the key to the apartment. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm asleep. And she comes in the house, comes on my side of the bed and say, hey, she called me lovely. Hi, lovely. And I wake up and I'm startled because you're not supposed to be here and it's 4 o'clock in the morning. And how did you get in the house? I mean, I know she had a key, but why are you here? So my eyes got big and I'm looking like I was stuck. And she said, I said, why are you here? What are you doing? And she was like, oh, I just came to bring you some hangers. And I said, okay. And you know, I have learned because I've been in scary situations with men and women, and you cannot let them know that you are scared. You cannot let them know that they're getting the best of you. So I said, okay. She said, I remember when you said you needed some hangers, so I brought you some hangers. I said, oh wow, thank you. I really in real life I needed hangers, but I didn't need you to bring them. So I told her, I said, thank you so much for bringing me the hangers. I really didn't need them. And she was like, you're welcome. I said, okay, well, I'll call you later. Just to be nice, just to keep that relationship at a good level, because I'm not gonna lie, she was still paying my bills, she was still helping me. And I told her she didn't have to do it, but she was like, I want to. And I said, well, my cousins are here, they're helping me, you don't have to give me any money. Well, I want to help you advance, I want to just do this, I want to do that. I said, okay, that's fine, if you want to do it, I'll take it. But I didn't need it, I didn't have a car note, and I was working. So after that, she ended up moving back in. She moved back in only under one condition, and she was fully aware of that, to help me with the bills. She said, I'll move back in and help you with the bills. I said, and that's it. I don't need you doing anything else. I don't want to get back in a relationship. Well, that went left. She started controlling me again. We ended up moving out of there and getting a 1-bedroom because she wanted to buy a house. I was like, okay, maybe we can make it work. Maybe we can, maybe we can fix it. She didn't want to break up. She didn't want us to separate. Well, another incident happened where she found out some things that I did when we were broken up, and she didn't like it. I don't even know how the information leaked, but it did. And she didn't like the fact that I was living my single life, and she was watching me live my single life, and I didn't know it. She was stalking me at the fair, stalking me at different girls' houses, and just stalking me at my house, seeing the parties we were having, watching me as I went to church. I mean, just everything. So she got mad at me about information that leaked out after we moved out of that apartment. We moved into a 1-bedroom apartment to save money to buy a house. The house never got bought, thank God. I ended up leaving the house because I already knew at that time I was going to break up with her. And I went to the club with my cousin, and if I'm not mistaken, she was there too. And when we left, I was talking to whoever I wanted to talk to because I already knew I was going back home to pack up my clothes. When we left, she had someone to hit my car. So we had an accident, and I found that out later that she had something to do with that. The person hit us from the corner of the back of the rear of the car, and knocked all of the bobby pins out of my cousin's hair. There was a big dent in the back of my car, and I went back to the house and I just started packing up my clothes. I packed up my clothes and I asked my coworker if I could come and stay with her. She ended up taking over our old apartment lease. She did let me know that she was very distraught, and I believe to a certain extent she was distraught. So when I left that relationship and I was just trying to gather my thoughts, like I was telling you guys, I was looking up different videos and everything, just trying to find content to get out of that lifestyle, because I did not want to, I didn't want to die in my sins. If I was going to leave this world, I didn't want to go to hell. And if I could save my life for my son, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to do. So, when I left that relationship, I was still going to work. I was hanging around. So this one wasn't a relationship. It was more of a friendship. Me and this girl never got into a relationship. We just went places together, had fun. That was really it. She was real cool. Nothing. I really don't have anything bad to say about her. Um, but the one after her was really. I don't. It wasn't really bad. She was just. What's the right word? Mean. She was mean. My son did not like her. Um, the one thing I can say about her is I had an older model car, and my car just kept breaking down. So she was like, I really think that you should get a new car. And I said, well, I really can't get that with my credit. I gotta wait. So she ended up signing for me a car. She signed for me a really nice car. It was a Chrysler 300, and I really loved that car. It was really nice. And when she signed for the car, we were in a relationship, of course, and let me think. She did not do anything for me when it came to the car. She did not pay any car notes. She did not pay for the insurance. She didn't even get the car washed, didn't even put gas in the car. I was doing everything. She just signed for the car for me. Well, when I got ready to leave that relationship, I was at work one day. And this is around when I believe when COVID had just started. So they were giving like a grace period to pay your car note. So I took advantage. I was like, oh, I ain't got to pay my car note right now. Cool. I can save that money. I can use that money for something else. So I called my car people and let them know that I wanted to take advantage of the COVID relief program that they had. And when I did that, they allowed me to do it. I walked outside one day to get in my car after work, and the car was no longer there. So I called thinking that somebody stole my car, and come to find out, she came and took my car. I don't even know how she got a key to the car, because she told me that there was only one key fob. Long story short, she ended up telling me, hey, if you want the stuff out of your car, you can come out of the car, you can come and get it. So I called up my guy best friend and I said, can you go meet up with her to go and get my belongings out of the car? And she told him, no, if Michelle wants her stuff, she needs to come and get it. So I said, you know what? Don't worry about it. You can have it. You can throw it away. You can give it to somebody. I don't care, because I don't want to be with you. And that kind of rolls over into my next relationship. This relationship was my final relationship. And this person, we had a lot of fun together as well. She was very, very pretty girl, Puerto Rican and black, not light skin, more on the pecan brown side, very well known in the city, very popular, dressed very nice. I can say she was one of the best dressed men / studs that I think I've ever met. She was a nice girl. She very affectionate, very loving. She took pride in her presentation, in her looks, haircut. If she let her hair grow out, her hair was constantly done. She got her hair cut faithfully. If you see me looking down, I did have to take notes because some of the stuff, it's a lot. So I didn't want to leave anything out. I didn't want to forget anything. When I met her, I kind of came onto her a little bit. We was in the club and she was on stage, and the hype man, I went to school with the hype man, it was another stud. And I kind of pointed, and she was like, oh, what, you want her? And I was like, yeah, her. And she said, oh, she gave the hand gestures and she caught on to it. And she told me to come up on stage. So we ended up going out to eat afterwards. I went back to her house, and it was nothing like I was used to. She did not try to come on to me. We were not intimate in any kind of way. We just laid on the sofa, watched TV, fell asleep, woke up the next morning, and got to know each other. And that was different for me. So the first time that she came to my house and laid in my bed, it was during the day. We took a nap, and I had a dream. The dream was about this huge snake. I mean, this snake was huge. And I'm like, why am I dreaming about snakes? Now, I've been living in my townhouse for I don't know how long, and I've never dreamed about a snake from what I could remember. And knowing but not realizing that God deals with me in my dreams, had been dealing with me in my dreams since I was little. I didn't even pay attention to the dream. And for anyone that dreams, sometimes the dreams will kind of give you a nudge. It'll kind of give you information like, hey, it's this person, or hey, it's that person. It's up to you to listen to it. Well, when I woke up from the dream was basically telling me it's the person that you're laying next to. And I totally dismissed it. I threw it out the window. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want it to be her. So, because everything just seemed so perfect with her. Everything just seemed like it was everything that I wanted it to be. I wanted a relationship. I wanted to settle down. And the vibe that she gave me was what I was looking for at that time. So when I had a dream about the snake, I dismissed it. And we went on with our relationship. Actually, at the beginning, we wasn't even in a relationship. She would post me all the time on Facebook, and people would always comment and say something like, when are you going to make her your girlfriend? Why do you keep saying still single and all of that? None of that never bothered me. At the time, she did let me know that she had just broken up with her ex that she was in love with, and she wasn't really ready to hop back into another relationship. I respected her for her honesty. And to be honest, it made me become even more attracted to her, because honesty is always better than a lie or deception. She ended up getting a job, and she let me know, hey, I got a job, and come to find out, I'm going to be working with my ex. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Thank you for letting me know. Well, I'm thinking she's telling me everything or whatever, and she wasn't. I had a friend that was also working at the same place as they were, and she was giving me details about what was happening. And she was like, they would go to lunch together. My girlfriend never told me that, and maybe she didn't feel the need to tell me that because we weren't actually in a relationship. But if you are a liar, then you're just a liar. If you are a deceiver, then you're just a deceiver. It doesn't matter if we're in a relationship or not. But again, I dismiss that. So, we ended up getting into a relationship, and around this time she was talking about threesomes, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I want a real relationship. I'm not here to play. If that's what you want, maybe you should go and find somebody that wants what you want, because that's not what I'm here for. And she said, oh, okay, I just wanted to, know what type of time that you were on. So I said, okay. She did let me know that she required a lot of attention. She always kept jobs. So she had like 3 jobs at the time. On her weekend job, she told me, hey, text me all the time. Text me all the time. I need you to respond to me when I text you. And I'm like, girl, I have a life. Like, and I don't want to spend all my whole day texting you. You at work, not me. But again, I dismissed the signs of this big attention seeker. And I did what she asked me to do. Because when I'm in a relationship, I just feel like you should give your partner what your partner is asking for if it's not changing you too much. It did get to a point where she wanted to be around me all the time, but it wasn't as bad as that other relationship with my second girlfriend. This girlfriend wasn't 100% controlling, but she was 1,000% manipulative, master manipulator. I've never seen anything like this before. Master manipulator. And she was a deceiver and a big liar. I had all the signs in the relationship, and I refused to pay attention to them. She was a DJ. So we were on every scene. And she used to always say, babe, I want you to come with me. So, in my head, I'm like, oh, she want me around her. She want me here. She wants me there, And of course I would be on stage with her, in the DJ booth with her. Wherever she was, that's where I would be. If I chose to, be in the crowd, she would either get on the mic or text my phone, hey, can you come sit up here with me? And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Not thinking about controlling at all. So it got to a point where I got tired of going out. I got tired of drinking. Besides, I had a son. I also had a job. She could, and I'm maybe 4 years older than her. She could do that and I couldn't. I wasn't able to drink on a Thursday night and then get up Friday and go to work like that. It started to weigh on me. And so I started communicating with her, telling her, hey, let's start doing other things with our money, with our time. You're a little older. I understand that you love to DJ, but maybe you should put your focus somewhere else. Let's start building generational wealth. She wanted a baby. I already had one, and she wanted a baby with me, but she wanted to carry the baby. And I'm like, well, if that's what you want to do, it's a lot raising a child, and you don't know if you're going to have a girl or a boy. And I know you don't want to raise the girl while you are constantly in the club. You're not going to be able to do both. It would be more so of me being the mother instead of you being the mother, which we both would be, but I'm sure you want to be a part of this child's life. Just trying to get her to come into a different realm, kind of grow up, kind of mature. On top of that, I didn't like how she not really viewed my son, but it's almost like she was in competition with him. Oh, you want to go buy him shoes? You didn't buy me any shoes. You're going to go shopping for him? You didn't go shopping for me. And I'm just like, how old are you? It's his birthday, or he need clothes, or I don't have money to buy you clothes and buy him clothes. Well, you don't hardly buy me anything. Okay, so after I buy him something, I'll buy you something. I mean, it got to that point. And I'm just, looking around like, who's the kid here? Again, I dismissed all of that. So in that relationship, we decided that we wanted to buy a house. We wanted to work on buying a house. I left my townhouse and I moved in with her. during that time, you know, we had conversations about, you know, I had male friends. She had female friends, feminine friends. And for her, with me, she felt like if Michelle, if you want to go out and be able to do this, I need to be able to meet your male friends or your stud friends. And I'm like, okay, I totally agree, so that you can feel comfortable. She met them all. Well, one day she decided to go hang out with her female friend that I had never met. When she did that, she did not care about how I felt about her going to eat oysters or wherever they went, wherever she went, whatever she did. I don't really know the truth, but wherever they went, I wasn't invited. So she left. I got a phone call maybe like an hour or two later, but by that time I was already at the Riverwalk, just thinking. It did make me sad. I did cry a little bit because I'm like, that's very unfair. I broke my neck to make sure that you met my friends, but you didn't do the same thing for me. So when she came back home, I think I was just pulling up. So she beat me back to the house. When she came, when I walked in the house, I prepared my stuff to go take a shower. I didn't say anything to her. As I'm trying to get in the shower, a fight breaks out of nowhere. She decided to want to fight. Now, I'm 5'7", she's 4'11". And I'm just looking at her like, what are you doing? And I don't know if she was drunk. I don't know if she was high on something. I mean, it just came from out of nowhere. We weren't even talking. We wasn't even saying anything to each other. And I was finna go get in the shower so that I can go to bed because I had work the next day. I mean, the fight got so bad until my son jumped in. My son is, you know, at that time he was little. He was only like 11, 12 maybe. And he jumped in but he was no match for her. And his punches or nothing was fazing her. So I knew at that time, I said, you know what, before this turns too ugly, I'm just gonna get my stuff, whatever I can get, my keys or whatever, and I'm just gonna leave. Well, she took my keys, dumped all my stuff out of my purse all over the floor. Don't even know why she was acting like this. So I just gathered up all my belongings. So I guess this happened right before I left my townhouse because I ended up going back home. I went back to my townhouse and she came following me. She came following me and throwing these huge rocks at my window until I opened the door. And to me, I'm like, oh wow, she's fighting for the relationship. But now I know that was not fighting for the relationship. That was not love, but at the time, that is how I identified it. So once I let that townhouse go and we moved forward with our life and we was working on buying a house, she was still DJing. There were many incidences in the club. It just seemed like every time you turned around, there was a girl pointing at her or a girl walking in the DJ booth and walking past me like I'm not there, like I'm invisible, to go and hug her, walk back past me to leave out the DJ booth. So now I'm telling her, like, that was very rude, that was very disrespectful, and what do y'all got going on? And of course she will always say, nothing. Okay. Once we got into the process of buying a house, well, let me back up a little bit. Before we got into the process of buying a house, this is when I got a phone call from my sister. And she said, hey, you know, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting on the bed. At the time, I was just sitting on the bed. And she said, I had a dream about you. And I said, okay, well, what was the dream? She said, I had a dream that you passed away. So I was like, what do you mean? She was like, I dreamed that you passed away. And I just think that you know, should pay attention to that. And I said, okay. So once I got off the phone with her, my mind started racing. This is what I was talking about at the intro of this video. And that's when I left the relationship. That was the first time I ever broke up with her.